Echoes from the abyss journey into terror. We're drawn to them, aren't we? Those stories that crawl under your skin, that make the hairs on your arms stand up. Horror stories. They possess this raw, undeniable charm, pulling us into these unknown dimensions, worlds absolutely saturated with chilling mystery and primal fear. It's a feeling unlike any other, a confrontation with the darkest corners of imagination and sometimes reality itself. These aren't just tales. They're experiences, whispered down through generations or ripped from yesterday's headlines, each one a portal to the terrifying unknown. Tonight, we're not just dipping our toes in, we're plunging headfirst into the abyss. I've gathered 12 of the most terrifying stories, a chilling tapestry woven from the threads of stark reality and nightmarish fiction. We'll navigate through ancient folklore, dissect disturbing myths, and confront experiences so real, so visceral, they'll leave you questioning everything. These narratives blur the lines, making you wonder where the story ends and the haunting truth begins. Each one is a unique descent into darkness, promising to grip you and not let go. Some of these accounts, they come with a warning, a dark moral lesson buried beneath the terror, a stark reminder of consequences. Others, they're engineered for one purpose, to unleash pure, unadulterated psychological dread, to tap into those deep-seated fears of supernatural entities and the unexplained forces that lurk just beyond our perception. So, lock your doors, turn down the lights. Are you ready? Because we're about to embark on a journey so thrilling, so intense, it will resonate long after the screen goes dark. Let's go! Gariba and the Beast, the Whispers of Disobedience. We begin our descent in the ancient lands of the Amazigh people, with a story that has echoed through generations, a chilling lullaby of fear known as Gariba and the Beast. This isn't just some campfire tale, my friends. This is folklore so potent, so deeply ingrained, that it inspired a haunting song, a melody that carries the weight of its terrifying lesson. Imagine children huddled close, listening as the notes rise and fall, each one a reminder of the darkness that awaits those who stray, those who don't listen. This story is a masterclass in using primal fear as a teaching tool, a way to etch vital lessons into young minds. The core of this legend revolves around Gariba, a figure whose fate becomes inextricably linked with a monstrous entity, the Beast. What was her transgression? What lines did she cross? The details vary in the telling, as they often do in ancient lore, but the essence remains the same, a crucial instruction ignored, a warning unheeded. And the consequences? They are swift, they are brutal, and they are personified by this terrifying beast. This entity isn't just a physical threat, it's the embodiment of the dangers that lie in wait when wisdom is discarded, when the boundaries set for protection are breached. Think about the power of such a story, passed down through oral tradition. It's more than entertainment. It's a survival guide cloaked in nightmare. The fear it instills isn't gratuitous, it's purposeful. It's designed to make children understand on a gut level the profound importance of following instructions, of heeding the advice of their elders. In a world fraught with unseen dangers, both natural and perhaps supernatural, such stories were the first line of defense, shaping behavior through the potent imagery of fear. The beast itself, what was it? Was it a literal monster, a creature of teeth and claws lurking in the shadows? Or was it something more symbolic, a representation of the harsh realities of a world where a single misstep could lead to disaster? The beauty and the terror of these old tales lies in their ambiguity, allowing each listener to paint their own picture of the horror. The song, they say, still carries that chill, a reminder of Gariba's fate and the ever-present beast that waits for the disobedient. We're talking about a primal fear here, the fear of the unknown, the fear of consequences. This story taps into something deep within the human psyche, the understanding that some doors are best left unopened, some commands are to be obeyed without question. It's a stark reminder that even in the oldest of tales, the echoes of real-world anxieties and the need for caution resonate powerfully. The story of Gariba and the Beast is a testament to how fear can be a guardian, a harsh teacher whose lessons are never forgotten. The haunted doll, modern Arab terror. Now we shift from ancient folklore to a fear that feels chillingly contemporary, a terror that has found fertile ground in modern Arab storytelling. The haunted doll. This isn't about beasts in the wilderness. This is about the insidious dread that can invade our most personal spaces, our homes, through objects we invite in. The idea of an inanimate object, something meant for comfort or play, becoming a vessel for malevolence is a deeply unsettling concept, and it's a theme that resonates powerfully across cultures, but with a unique flavor in these modern Arab tales. Imagine bringing a doll into your home. It sits on a shelf, its eyes seemingly watching, always watching. At first, it's nothing. Then, subtle things begin to happen. Objects move, whispers are heard when no one is speaking. A pervasive sense of unease settles over the household. This story taps directly into the fear of possessed objects, the terrifying notion that something evil can attach itself to the mundane, turning the familiar into a source of pure, unadulterated horror. It's the ultimate violation of sanctuary. In many of these modern Arab narratives, the presence of a jinn or some other unseen entity is often suspected when a doll exhibits such terrifying characteristics. The fear isn't just of the doll itself, but of what it might represent, a conduit for something ancient, something powerful, something not of this world. The psychological impact is immense. How do you fight an enemy that resides within an innocent-looking toy? How do you protect your family from a threat that smiles vacantly from a playroom corner? These stories often detail the escalation of events, from subtle disturbances to outright poltergeist activity, even physical manifestations or attacks. The families involved are thrown into turmoil, their lives upended by this seemingly innocuous object that has become a focal point for paranormal phenomena. The desperation, the fear, the frantic search for answers or a means of cleansing the object in the home, these are common threads that make these tales so compelling and so terrifying. They speak to our vulnerability, even in our own homes. The haunted doll narrative serves as a modern cautionary tale, perhaps reflecting anxieties about consumerism, the unknown origins of the objects we bring into our lives, or the lingering belief in an unseen world that can, and sometimes does, intersect with our own in the most terrifying ways. It highlights a primal fear, the corruption of innocence, and the chilling realization that sometimes the things we own can end up owning us, or worse, bringing something truly dark along with them. The House of Mirrors, Algeria's silent sentinel of dread. Our next stop takes us to Algeria, to a place whispered about in hushed tones, a location that stands as a monument to enduring fear, the House of Mirrors. This isn't just a story, it's a place, a physical structure that, according to local legend, still stands today. And the most chilling part? It's said that no one, absolutely no one, dares to cross its threshold. What secrets does it hold? What unspeakable events transpired within its walls to create such a potent and lasting aura of terror? The name itself, the House of Mirrors, conjures unsettling imagery. Imagine a place where every surface reflects, distorts, multiplies. A place where you can never be sure if what you're seeing is real or a trick of the light, a figment of your own terrified imagination, or something far more sinister looking back at you. Mirrors have long been associated with the supernatural, seen as portals to other realms or devices that can trap souls. A house full of them? That's a recipe for psychological torment. Legends surrounding such places often speak of a dark history, perhaps a tragic event, a heinous crime, or rituals gone horribly wrong. The mirrors in these tales are not merely reflective glass, they become witnesses, absorbing the negative energy, the pain, the terror of what occurred. They say that if you were to look into these mirrors, you wouldn't just see your reflection. You'd see the past, the tormented spirits, the darkness that has become embedded within the very fabric of the house. The fact that this house, as the story goes, remains untouched, unentered, speaks volumes about the power of belief and the depth of the fear it instills in the local community. It's a silent sentinel, a constant reminder of the unknown and the respected boundaries between our world and whatever lurks within its decaying walls. People would rather live with the mystery, with the unanswered questions, than risk confronting the horrors that are said to reside there. This avoidance itself fuels the legend, making the house even more ominous. What entity, what force, could be so powerful as to render a building completely off-limits for generations? Is it a curse? Is it a guardian? Or is it the collective fear of the community that has imbued the location with such a palpable sense of dread? The House of Mirrors in Algeria stands as a chilling testament to the idea that some places are intrinsically linked to darkness, places where the veil is thin, and the echoes of terror never truly fade. We remain in Algeria, but this time our investigation takes us to a location that should be mundane, a place of everyday routine, yet it has become the site of a persistent and sorrowful haunting, a school bathroom. Here, the legend of the bathroom ghost endures, a chilling tale of a spectral presence whose grief-stricken sounds still permeate the sterile tiles and cold stalls. It's said her ghost, a sorrowful apparition, still haunts the school's bathrooms, her presence marked by the faint, unmistakable sounds of crying that echo when no one living is there. Schools, by their very nature, are places of youthful energy, of learning, of life. But what happens when a tragedy, an unresolved sorrow, taints that environment? This particular legend speaks of a female spirit, forever trapped in a loop of despair within the confines of the school's lavatories. The stories don't always specify who she was, or what led to her tragic fate, but the result is a haunting that turns a commonplace location into a source of fear and unease for students and staff alike. Imagine being a student at this school. You hear the rumors, the hushed warnings from older classmates. You need to use the restroom, and as you push open the door, a sudden chill fills the air. Then you hear it, a soft sobbing, seemingly coming from an empty stall, or perhaps from the very walls themselves. It's a sound that would send shivers down anyone's spine, a direct auditory manifestation of an unseen sorrowful entity. This is raw, emotional paranormal activity. The persistence of such a haunting, especially in a place with so much daily activity, is what makes it so compelling. Why the bathrooms? In paranormal lore, water is often seen as a conductor of spiritual energy. Perhaps there's a connection there. Or maybe it was the site of her deepest despair in life, a place where she felt most alone, and now, in death, she is tethered to it, her sorrow forever imprinted upon the atmosphere. The faint sounds of crying are a constant, chilling reminder of her presence. This story highlights how even the most ordinary places can become imbued with supernatural dread. The bathroom ghost of Algeria is more than just a spooky tale. It's a reflection of how human emotion, particularly profound sadness and trauma, can, according to believers, leave an indelible mark on the physical world, an echo that refuses to fade. The sounds of her weeping serve as an eerie testament to a presence that cannot or will not find peace. Now we delve into a story that feels intensely personal, a narrative of survival against an unseen malevolence, the account of Jessica, Tom, and the cursed house. This isn't ancient folklore. This has the chilling immediacy of a modern ordeal, a terrifying chapter in two individuals' lives. They faced something in that house, something that pushed them to their limits. And though they managed to escape its physical confines, the experience left an indelible scar. The most chilling aspect, the feeling of being watched, that insidious dread, never truly left them. What transforms a mere dwelling into a cursed house? Is it a history of tragedy, a dark ritual performed within its walls, or the presence of an entity that has claimed the space as its own? For Jessica and Tom, the house they encountered was not a home. It was a hunting ground. The activity likely started subtly unexplained noises, objects moving, a general sense of unease. But in cursed locations, these phenomena often escalate, becoming more direct, more threatening, as if an intelligence is testing, probing, and then actively targeting the inhabitants. Their decision to escape was not one of cowardice but of self-preservation. Imagine the terror that must have built day by day, night after night in that house. The feeling of being unwelcome, of being actively tormented by an unseen force would be enough to break anyone. They made the choice to flee, to put distance between themselves and the source of their torment. But some shadows, once they fall upon you, are not so easily shaken off. The house may have been left behind, but the entity, or the memory of its presence, clung to them. That lingering sensation of being watched is a profound psychological burden. It suggests that the influence of the cursed house, or whatever resided within it, was not strictly tied to the physical location. Did something attach itself to them? Or was the trauma so profound that it rewired their perception of safety, leaving them permanently on edge, forever glancing over their shoulders, expecting to see or feel that malevolent presence once more? This is the deep, insidious nature of such encounters. The story of Jessica and Tom serves as a stark reminder that escaping a haunted location doesn't always mean escaping the haunting itself. The psychological toll, the persistent fear, the unnerving feeling that something is still out there, aware of you, these are the invisible wounds that such experiences can inflict. Their ordeal underscores the terrifying possibility that some encounters with the paranormal leave a permanent residue, a chilling echo that follows you, a constant reminder of the darkness they faced and narrowly survived. We now confront a phenomenon that blurs the line between medical explanation and supernatural horror, an experience reported across cultures and throughout history, sleep paralysis, and the terrifying entities often associated with it. This particular account is framed as a true story, and in Arab culture these harrowing nocturnal visitations are frequently linked to the Jinn, unseen beings that are said to share our world. The feeling of being awake, yet completely unable to move, while a malevolent presence is in the room, sometimes even pressing down on your chest, is the stuff of nightmares made real. Sleep paralysis itself is a recognized medical condition, a state where the mind wakes up before the body does, leaving you temporarily immobilized. But for those who experience it, especially when accompanied by vivid hallucinations of a menacing figure, the clinical explanation often falls short of capturing the sheer terror involved. In many cultures, including Arab traditions, this isn't seen as a mere trick of the brain, but as a genuine encounter with an external entity, often a Jinn, using this moment of vulnerability to interact, to torment. Imagine the absolute horror. Your eyes snap open in the dead of night. You're aware of your surroundings, but you cannot move a muscle, cannot utter a sound. Panic sets in. Then you sense it, a presence in the room. Sometimes it's a shadow in the corner, sometimes it's a figure standing over your bed, and in the most terrifying accounts, it's a weight on your chest, crushing the air from your lungs. This isn't just a bad dream, it feels terrifyingly, undeniably real. The helplessness is profound. The connection to Jinn in Arab folklore adds another layer of dread to these experiences. Jinn are believed to be entities made of smokeless fire, capable of interacting with humans, sometimes benevolently, often malevolently. The idea that one of these beings could be responsible for the suffocating pressure, the shadowy figures, the palpable sense of evil during sleep paralysis, transforms a frightening physiological event into a truly supernatural assault. It's an invasion of your most vulnerable state. These true stories of sleep paralysis entities are so common, so consistent in their terrifying details, that they demand our attention. Whether you believe it's a neurological glitch, a manifestation of deep-seated anxieties, or a genuine brush with the paranormal, the experience is undeniably horrifying for those who endure it. It's a stark reminder of how vulnerable we are when we sleep, and how thin the veil between our perceived reality and a world of unseen terrors can sometimes become. The fear is real, the entities feel real, and the stories continue to be told. Our journey now takes us to the streets of Japan, to confront a legend so visually striking and deeply unsettling that it has terrified generations, Kuchisake Onna, the Slit-Mouthed woman. This isn't just a ghost story, it's an urban legend that has sparked real fear, a cautionary tale whispered among school children and adults alike. She is said to be the vengeful spirit, the onryo, of a woman who was horrifically disfigured, her mouth slit from ear to ear, and now she roams the nocturnal streets, seeking to inflict similar torment on others. The encounter, as the legend dictates, is chillingly specific. She appears, often to lone travelers or children, wearing a surgical mask, not an uncommon sight in Japan, which makes her initial appearance deceptively normal. She will then approach her victim and ask a seemingly innocent question, "Watashi, kirei?" Am I pretty? If you answer no, the consequences are said to be swift and brutal, often involving a violent death at her hands, typically with a large pair of scissors or a scythe she carries. But the true horror of the encounter unfolds if you answer yes. Pleased, she will then remove her mask, revealing her grotesque ear-to-ear grin, her mutilated mouth. She then poses another, far more terrifying question, "Core demo? Even like this? Or, how about now?" At this point, any answer can lead to a horrifying fate. If you again say yes, she is said to slit your mouth to resemble hers. If you scream or try to run, she will pursue you, and her speed is often described as supernatural. There are many variations on how to escape, but none are foolproof. This legend taps into several deep-seated fears: the fear of disfigurement, the fear of random, unprovoked violence, and the horror of a no-win situation. The surgical mask, a symbol of hygiene and protection, becomes a veil for unimaginable horror. The questions she poses are a cruel game, a psychological trap where any response can lead to pain and mutilation. The image of Kuchisake Onna, with her terrifying smile and her sharp weapon, is an icon of Japanese horror. The origins of the legend are debated, with some tracing it back to the Edo period, while others point to a resurgence in the late 1970s that caused widespread panic, with schools even reportedly increasing patrols to protect children. Whether a purely folkloric creation or inspired by some forgotten tragedy, the slit-mouthed woman endures as a potent symbol of urban dread, a reminder that even in the most modern cities, ancient fears and vengeful spirits can lurk just around the corner, hidden behind a simple mask. We return to the chilling concept of haunted objects, but this time, we're not dealing with folklore or regional tales. We're confronting a real physical object that is infamous worldwide for the malevolent activity attributed to it: Annabelle, the haunted doll. This Raggedy Ann doll, far from being a comforting child's toy, is believed by many to be a conduit for a dark, inhuman spirit. And the most unsettling part? Annabelle is not a character in a story. She is a real artifact, currently locked away in a glass case in Ed and Lorraine Warren's Occult Museum in Connecticut, United States. The story of Annabelle began in the 1970s when a nursing student received the doll as a gift. Soon after, she and her roommate began to experience increasingly strange and terrifying phenomena. The doll would reportedly change positions on its own, move from room to room, and even leave written messages on parchment paper. Messages like "help us." These weren't playful pranks. These were deeply unsettling occurrences that escalated in intensity, creating an atmosphere of constant fear and dread for the young women. Seeking help, the students contacted paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who, after investigating the claims, came to a terrifying conclusion. They determined that the doll was not possessed in the traditional sense, but rather manipulated by an inhuman demonic presence. This entity, they believed, was using the doll as a conduit, not to possess the doll itself, but to ultimately target the human occupants of the apartment with the goal of possessing one of them. This is a critical distinction and a far more sinister intention. The Warrens deemed the doll and the entity associated with it to be so dangerous that they took it into their possession, encasing it in a specially built glass box inscribed with warnings and prayers. Even within the museum, surrounded by other allegedly cursed and haunted objects, Annabelle is considered one of the most malevolent items. There are stories of visitors who have mocked or challenged the doll, only to suffer accidents or misfortunes shortly thereafter, further cementing its dark reputation. Annabelle's story serves as a chilling real-world example of the potential for objects to become focal points for paranormal activity. The fact that she remains locked away, treated with extreme caution by seasoned paranormal investigators, lends a terrifying credibility to the claims surrounding her. She is a silent, smiling testament to the belief that evil can attach itself to the most innocent-looking things. A constant, disturbing reminder that some doors to the unknown are best left unopened, and some objects are best left undisturbed. Our focus now shifts to a story that derives its terror not from ghosts or demons, but from the chilling ambiguity of real-life unexplained events, the Korean girl's disappearance. This narrative highlights how true events, especially those shrouded in mystery and lacking clear resolution, can be profoundly terrifying. When the facts are few and the possibilities are endless, our minds tend to fill in the blanks with our deepest fears, creating a horror story that feels all too real because, at its core, it is. Imagine a young girl full of life, simply vanishing without a trace. One moment she's there, part of the everyday fabric of her community, and the next, she's gone. No note, no witnesses to a struggle, no clear indication of what happened. This is the terrifying reality of many unsolved disappearance cases, and this particular story, rooted in Korean urban legend or perhaps a forgotten true crime, taps into that universal dread. The lack of answers is a torment in itself, for the family, for the community, and for anyone who hears the tale. The horror in such a story comes from its plausibility and its relatability. It's not a monster from folklore, it's the kind of event that could happen in any town, to any family. This proximity to reality is what makes it so chilling. Was it an accident? Was it a crime? Was there something more sinister, something unexplainable at play? The not knowing is a breeding ground for fear, speculation runs rampant, each theory potentially more disturbing than the last. These stories often become ingrained in local consciousness, evolving into cautionary tales. Parents warn their children, communities become more vigilant, but the underlying fear remains. The empty space left by the disappeared person becomes a void filled with anxieties about safety, about the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of ordinary life. The ambiguity of the situation means there's no closure, no way to process the event and move on fully. It's an open wound. The Korean girl's disappearance, whether a specific documented case or a composite of such tragedies that have entered folklore, underscores a profound truth. Sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that are incomplete. The human mind abhors a vacuum, and in the absence of facts, we project our own worst-case scenarios. This story is a testament to how real-life events, stripped of explanation, can generate a unique and enduring form of terror, a fear born not of the supernatural, but of the stark, cold, and often brutal uncertainties of the human experience. We now explore a chilling intersection of artistic expression and supernatural retribution with the story of Nora, the singer, and the Jinn party. This tale, often whispered in circles that respect the boundaries of the unseen world, suggests that certain actions, even seemingly innocuous ones like a musical performance, can provoke entities that are best left undisturbed. It's said the house where Nora performed was already haunted by Jinn, and her songs, perhaps unintentionally, stirred them into a terrifying display of their power. Imagine Nora, a talented singer, invited to perform at a private gathering in an old, perhaps somewhat isolated house. The atmosphere might have been festive, the audience appreciative, but unbeknownst to her, or perhaps ignored by the hosts, the house had a reputation. It was known as a place where Jinn resided, beings of smokeless fire who, according to Islamic tradition, live in a world parallel to our own, often unseen but capable of interaction and sometimes intense displeasure. As Nora's voice filled the rooms, something shifted. The performance, intended to entertain, instead acted as a trigger. Perhaps the music itself, its vibrations or emotional content, was offensive to these unseen residents. Or maybe the sheer energy of the gathering, the human emotions, disturbed their domain. The legend suggests that the Jinn, provoked by this intrusion or the nature of the performance, decided to make their presence known in a dramatic and terrifying fashion. What followed would have been chaos and fear, objects flying, unexplained sounds, a palpable sense of malevolence filling the air, classic signs of angered spirits. The party would have quickly turned from celebration to terror as the Jinn unleashed their displeasure upon Nora and the attendees. This story serves as a stark warning. There are places and entities that demand respect, and crossing certain lines, even unknowingly, can have severe consequences. The idea that music, something so often associated with joy and connection, could incite such a reaction is deeply unsettling. The tale of Nora and the Jinn party is a powerful reminder, within cultures that believe in Jinn, of the delicate balance between our world and theirs. It implies that some locations are not truly ours to command, and that our actions can have repercussions in realms beyond our immediate perception. It's a cautionary account about respecting the unseen, about understanding that not all spirits are benign, and that sometimes even the most beautiful song can awaken a terrifying ancient anger. We venture back to Japan, a land rich with tales of curses and vengeful spirits, to explore a particularly insidious form of paranormal threat, the killer photograph. Before we delve into the specifics of one infamous image, let's consider the broader legend, the very concept of how a simple photograph can become a harbinger of doom. This isn't just about a scary picture, it's about an object imbued with a malevolent power, an image that, once seen, can seal your fate. The terror lies in its accessibility, its potential to spread like a virus. How does a photograph become cursed? Japanese folklore is replete with stories of intense emotion, rage, sorrow, a desire for revenge, becoming imprinted upon objects or locations. Imagine a moment of extreme trauma, a violent death, or a dark ritual captured even inadvertently by a camera. The negative energy, the spectral residue of that event, could theoretically become trapped within the image itself, turning it from a mere representation into an active, malevolent artifact. The lens of the camera, in this context, becomes a gateway. The fear surrounding such legends often involves the act of. It's not enough for the photograph to exist, its curse is activated by perception. Once your eyes fall upon the cursed image, the chain is set in motion. This taps into a primal fear of contagion, the idea that simply witnessing something can infect you with its darkness. What does the photograph show? In many precursor legends, before a specific image becomes famous, the details might be vague or vary. A distorted face, a shadowy figure in the background, an inexplicable anomaly that chills the viewer to the bone. Consider the psychological impact. In an age of instant image sharing, a cursed photograph could spread with terrifying speed. The legend itself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for some, where the fear and anticipation of a negative outcome after seeing such an image might manifest in heightened anxiety, paranoia, or even lead to accidents born of distraction and dread. The power of suggestion, amplified by a truly unsettling image, can be immense. This is the insidious nature of such a curse. It preys on the mind. These general legends of killer photographs lay the groundwork for more specific, infamous tales. They establish the terrifying possibility that a mundane object, something we encounter every day, can be transformed into a deadly weapon by unseen forces. The camera, an instrument of capturing reality, can also, in these dark narratives, capture something beyond reality, something that carries with it a fatal warning. The very idea that an image holds the power of life and death is a chilling concept that has haunted the human imagination for generations. 12 stories, 12 descents into the shadows where reality and fiction bleed together. We've walked through ancient folklore, confronted modern terrors, and stared into the face of the unexplained. What you've just witnessed, what you've just felt, that chill, that unease, that's the power these narratives hold. They tap into something primal, something deep within us that responds to the unknown, to the possibility that there's more to this world than what we see in the cold light of day. These aren't just stories, they're echoes of fear reverberating through time. The House of Mirrors, the Slit-Mouthed woman, the chilling presence of Annabelle, the despair of the bathroom ghost. Each one leaves a residue, a question mark hanging in the air. Did Gariba learn her lesson too late? Does the feeling of being watched ever truly leave those who escape a cursed place? These accounts, whether rooted in verifiable events or born from the darkest corners of imagination, they force us to confront our own vulnerabilities, our own beliefs about what lurks just beyond the veil. The terror they evoke is a raw, undeniable energy. As we conclude this journey, remember that the darkness explored tonight doesn't just exist in these tales. It's a reflection of the anxieties, the mysteries, and the unexplained phenomena that are part of the human experience. Some will say it's all in the mind, but for those who have felt that cold spot, heard that whisper in an empty room, or seen that shadow move, they know. The unknown is always there, watching, waiting. Until next time, try to understand the darkness.